That's how weak men behave, and no one is weaker and more pathetic than Donald Trump right now as his approval continues to plummet. That, by the way, was in Portland, Oregon, as you have Donald Trump's Gestapo, his ICE agents, just pushing people to the ground and yelling at them and screaming at them and just treating people like absolute trash. We know what you're trying to hide, Donald, the Epstein files. It's an AI image, but those are the Epstein files in Donald Trump's hair. Now, yesterday, Donald Trump and his entire regime were crying forgery after the Epstein estate, pursuant to a subpoena that was forced by the Democrats in the House Oversight Committee, finally produced the Epstein 50th birthday book from 2023. It shows Donald Trump's letter where he talks about enigmas and secrets never age and all of the very creepy stuff. There was also additional birthday cards in there from Epstein's other friends, some that like reference Donald Trump. And they were trying to do this like in a sadistic, mocking way to an unnamed girl or woman that Donald Trump was paying Epstein the depreciation value for a girl, like real disgusting stuff. There was other stuff in this birthday book to Epstein. It was purportedly written by a girl, but it looks like it was written by Elaine Maxwell, who put this all together, talking about her trips to see Prince Andrew and Donald Trump. There's a lot more there than just Donald Trump's letter to Epstein, which is damning enough. And Trump's efforts to try to claim this as a forgery when it's so obviously his signature just makes it look extra damaging as well. He could have just been like, hey, I live next to Epstein, so of course I'm going to write this stuff. But no, we know that Donald Trump and Epstein are deep in this together, and Mar-a-Lago was used as the grounds for some of Epstein's sex trafficking of underage girls, like Virginia Giuffre. I'll show you another image right here, a video rather, of what weak men do to pretend to be strong. This is Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, who is unlawfully referring to himself as the Secretary of War. He's in Puerto Rico right here, in the San Juan military base, as the U.S. tries to show how strong it is to Venezuela. I think they know that we're strong. I think that they know that we have a very big military. But when we use our ships and our nuclear submarines and our war apparatus to kill individuals on a fishing boat off the coast of Venezuela, and then you claim that they were bringing cocaine into the United States after saying they were going to Trinidad, when there didn't even seem to be enough fuel in there to make it anywhere close to the United States with all of these red flags. There ain't nothing strong about this. Our enemies abroad, like Putin, who, by the way, Donald Trump wants to be allies, they're laughing at us and realize how weak we are. Our allies, who Donald Trump does not want to be our allies, are horrified at us. Here's Pete Hegseth saying, the reason we call ourselves war is because we want peace. Again, this is how weak men behave here. Play this.
The reason I like the name War Department so much is not because I love war. I don't, and neither do you. It's because I seek and love peace.
And speaking about how weak men behave, these are the types of emails that Donald Trump was ranting and raving and sending all last night. Please, I'm starting to worry. I've asked you so many times. Ben, this is getting sad. Please complete my MAGA poll. I'm worried about you. This is your very last chance. And when you click respond to Trump, it asks you for money. Or this email, I'm upgrading you to diamond status. You didn't accept my offer the first time, so I'm personally delivering it a second time. I won't do this again, not even for you. This is diamond status, Ben. Or this one, nobody deserves this more than you. I gave Rudy Giuliani a Presidential Medal of Freedom. I want to honor you. You're 1% of all Trump patriots. That's why I'm officially awarding you the inaugural Trump Patriot Medal. Claim the medal. You click claim the medal, it asks you for money. The reason I show you those emails, though, is it is a psychological technique that Trump is using for his supporters. This is a cult tactic. It's like love bombing and then also kind of scolding. It's a combination. Like, why aren't you responding to me? Why aren't you? I love you. I love you. I'm going to give you awards. Why aren't you responding? We've been through so much together. It's psychological mind control kind of techniques there to keep people in your cults kind of coming back from, oh, does he like me? Does he like me? And some of his Magdamush supporters really read that and like, oh my God, I want another medal, says Siri. As weird as we think that is, we have to recognize what those psychological tactics are. You have Donald Trump posting this yesterday as well. The Biden auto pen scandal is big. Not as big as the Russia hoax or the rigged 2020 presidential election, but nevertheless one of the biggest ever. So you notice, as more comes out about Epstein in Donald Trump's sickening, disgusting past, as Donald Trump tries to cover up this child sex trafficking ring and calls it a hoax, they gotta go auto pen. Russia. I mean, Russia what? You invited Putin to Alaska a few weeks ago, and then in the Oval Office you show off people a photo that you took with Putin and like you're like lovers or something, and then you brag about wanting him to be here to watch the FIFA World Cup. Like Russia's right now. You are lifting sanctions against Russia. You're not imposing sanctions against Russia. You speak glowingly of Putin while speaking horribly of Ukraine.
Russia. What? Like, what you're doing now is far worse than anything I'd find in a dossier. I'm seeing it with my eyes. No need to look at a dossier. I'm seeing what you're doing now. It's heinous, despicable, treasonous, and traitorous is what it is. You have President Zelensky making posts like this. Today I held a staff meeting focused primarily on technological issues. The Russians are once again concentrating their strikes on energy facilities. Of course, we have responses to this and will continue to respond, but the main priority is the stability of the system. We also define key objectives together with the Minister of Defense of Ukraine for the upcoming Ramstein meeting in the coming days. Strengthening air defense is the number one goal for this Ramstein and for our contacts in Europe and the US. In general, the Ukrainian army must be and will be consistently strong. In Canada, a real leader, Prime Minister Carney, writes, Russia brutally attacked Ukraine last night. That was over the weekend when Russia launched its biggest drone strike. Yes. Yeah. Killing innocent civilians in residential areas and damaging the Cabinet of Ministers building. My thoughts are with the injured and everyone who is mourning their loved ones. A just and lasting peace for Ukraine will require robust and credible security guarantees. Last night's cowardly attack underscores the urgency of that mission. I was honored to stand with President Zelensky in Kyiv late last month as Ukraine marked its Independence Day. And then he goes on to say, Canada is steadfast in its commitment to the coalition of the willing and its willingness to deploy direct and scalable military assistance in support of upholding a ceasefire and a lasting peace. You'll never hear statements like that from Donald Trump. At all. Again, a weak and pathetic man. Not even a man. A vile piece of trash is what he is. But just think about it. Donald Trump promised that there would be a ceasefire, and if Putin didn't agree to a ceasefire, there's going to be serious sanctions. 2 weeks. He's saying serious sanctions. He's saying ceasefire. He goes, Putin agreed to NATO-like security guarantees. Russia's going to do security guarantees. Russia's agreed to a bilateral and trilateral meeting. Everybody, Russia's agreed. And then our idiotic corporate news here in America was like, Russia's agreed. Donald Trump's a good negotiator. I'm like, what are you talking? They didn't agree to anything.
Making it up. How do you keep on publishing things that say, Donald Trump says, fill in the blank? It is a lie. He's a felon, a sexual abuser. He's a fraud. He's a bankrupter. He's a horrible human. Why do you print what this guy says and take it for what it is? Why don't you actually do some journalism and say, wait a minute, did Russia really agree to this? Of course they didn't agree to this. And in fact, things are worse since Alaska. Russia did the meeting with Xi Jinping in China and Kim Jong-un, and now Prime Minister Modi's there. All Donald Trump saw, enjoy conspiring against us. Enjoy conspiring against us. How freaking pathetic do you look right now? How pathetic do you look? I'll give another data point here. How Donald Trump treated the South Koreans at the Hyundai plant. Especially as we learn more that Hyundai invested lots of money in the United States, something that we should all want. I don't care who's the president. That's great. Hyundai's investing in the United States. Someone called ICE on 3 or 4 Latinos in the plant. So ICE shows up to get the 3 or 4 Latinos, but then they end up arresting all of the South Koreans who were lawfully at the factory. They didn't even come with a translator to speak to the South Koreans. They shackle and arrest and treat them like war criminals. That's what Latinos in America go through every day, as the Supreme Court also made a ruling saying that, yes, the regime can racially profile Latinos. If you're Latino and you work in a job that's like a waiter or a car wash or a job where migrants may work, you can get arrested, thrown in concentration camps in the United States, thanks to our right-wing fascist Supreme Court. They said that's perfectly acceptable. The 3 liberal justices dissented in that opinion, saying, yeah, that's literally fascism and authoritarianism, but 6 judges said do it. Racially profile Latinos, go for it. We're good with that. Is what our freaking extremist, authoritarian, fascist Supreme Court said, which should fuck us all off, but I digress. Speaking about that Hyundai plant, and in that Hyundai plant, they then arrest all the South Koreans, shackle them. South Korea has chartered planes to go bring these people back to South Korea, take them out of the plant, so the plant is effectively going to not be operating. And these were all people who were there with, all of the South Koreans were there with valid legal papers. All of them were there with valid legal papers, and this is how they are treated. Let's check in with our farmers in Arkansas, see how they're doing here. Play this clip.
Now, I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love.
5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
We made a decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the 7th generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.